The same afternoon that my wife returned from an 8-week work trip, she had an STD test. To hide the appointment, she went shopping alone. We've always gotten along, and my wife is a wonderful lady. We have been together for 4.5 years, and we have been married for about 2 years. Both of us had multiple relationships before we entered into a monogamous relationship. My wife usually takes a 2-month-long business vacation every year. Because of the technology problems at her workplace, email and phone contact may be challenging during this period. During the business trips, she truly enjoys her work, and she typically returns home with a sense of fulfillment and excitement for life. She usually needs a day or two to recover from the jet lag, a 21-hour time difference and a 28-hour travel time, when she gets home. Since she's been gone for so long, we usually spend a lot of time together in the days that follow. Sex, dates, hugging, catching up, etc. This year, after an amazing trip, she returned home the same excited person. She appeared so eager to work on the projects that she would have to go purchase supplies from the store in order to begin. She says she wants to go shopping for her craft project, and that she will probably spend several hours out shopping, about 3 hours after you picked her up from the airport. She makes a point of stating that she will require many hours of time. Given that she just returned from a 28-hour travel, hasn't slept, and isn't typically the kind to spend more than an hour or two shopping, I think this is a little strange. Alright. It's alright. She returns home after almost 5 hours with a single bag of art supply. Although I find this unusual, I don't give it much thought. I attribute it to her taking her time and carefully choosing her resources rather than purchasing them in quantity. She remained aloof and didn't really experience jet lag over the next 4 days. Although I found that strange, I gave her some space and concentrated solely on my studies. We haven't had sex for almost 2 weeks after we returned, despite my advances and gentle nudging, to which I am met with the response, "I'm just feeling off, and don't feel like it." That strikes me as odd because we've been working out some new issues before her departure, and we had discussed kindling when she got back. She generally sees me 3 or 4 times a week. I don't give it much thought when she declines my advances for sex time the first few times. We've always had a very open, non-judgmental stance and are considerate of one another's needs, whether they be urgent, worn out, or just needed. The mix of her distance and not having sex feels pretty weird after 2 weeks. She went out for a day out with her girlfriends over the weekend. That's when I surveilled her computer. You should quit reading right now if that annoys other people. We have never been more transparent on social media and our phones. My Facebook password, computer password, and phone passwords are all known to her. I checked her computer when she was out with her friend. I went to check because she had left her personal and professional emails, Facebook, Reddit, and open and logged in. Nothing unusual at all. She had taken several self-portraits with her phone, sent them to her email, downloaded them, and then erased them, which is why I found them in the recycle bin. That seems strange to me. Instead than uploading nude photos to our computers, we would normally send them to each other. Given her good looks, possible that she truly liked them and chose to keep them. Dee has been pretty uninterested in having sex since coming back. She is posting naked selfies while wearing pajamas, which has my mind spinning. I verified that the photos were taken lately and that they were downloaded from Gmail by looking at the metadata. I went to check her Gmail. Nothing too strange. But prior to 3 days after she got back home, everything had been removed from her inbox, and then the trash folder, not preserved. All of the data from the first was erased. She returned home on the 4th. But there was a confirmation of an appointment for a health facility in a nearby city in her trash can. Did you need to modify your appointment? There was a link on it that required your user ID to access the patient's site. Using the ID and her shared passwords, which I already knew from our sharing, I signed in. Although the portal appears to be largely empty, it does indicate that she made and kept an appointment the same afternoon she returned from her trip. I requested the visitation records through the site. A half hour later, they were delivered to the portal. Just 5 hours after returning from an 8-week business trip, she had gone in for an STD test. The information retrieved indicated that she had taken the test multiple times, therefore it was not simply one test. I compared it to her schedule for business trips, and lo and behold, it lined up. This indicates that even during our dating relationship, she had taken tests each time she got back from a trip. I immediately downloaded every report and erased the tampering history. I am composing this on my iPad, heavy with the weight of this shocking discovery. I'm at a loss on what to do. First update. I should gather adequate evidence before any confrontation, as many of you have urged. I apologize for the disappointment, but I thought the reports were enough. I asked my wife when she would be home after printing off the reports. She promised to be late. If she's finished with her screw-up sessions, I asked her to return home right away. I had never spoken to her like this before, so she was taken aback by my outburst. She asked me what was wrong and attempted to reassure me. "Just take your cheating ass back home," I yelled. In 30 minutes, she was sitting in front of me, having hurried. I tossed all the test findings in her face as she stormed into the house, ranting and criticizing my words. She sat down, stunned. She was crying all she could do when I prodded her to say anything. My affection for her was overwhelmed by my rage, and I was concerned about the truth at the time. She said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you, and I love you." Non-stop as she spoke. I advised her to stop talking shut and tell it how it is. I'm not sure if I was ready to accept it when she finally spoke the truth. I felt like throwing up after reading that. Her trip was more like a fuck than a business trip. It was at one of those island nations where Western visitors mostly went to have a good time. You may have one or more partners living with you and taking care of all your needs. Food, laundry, sex, everything. While you are taken advantage of by the young men and women of that island. In order for them to receive financial assistance from wealthy Western guys, the women there genuinely search for men who can become pregnant. Local women go there for leisure. I questioned her about if her business travel was a front. She declined, stating that she worked 6 to 8 hours a day and spent the remainder of the evenings and night living out their make-believe world. I asked her whether this was meant to be a lifelong secret, and when she planned to inform me about it, she continued to cry without responding to that. I informed her that I couldn't stay with an imposter, and that we would have to part ways. She gave off the impression that I had said something ridiculous. "This shouldn't require a breakup," she said. "I have no sentimental attachment to those boys. I have never cheated on you, and I love you even though I can't even remember half of their names or faces." The crap got lost. I screamed, "Do you even understand what dirt you were bringing home through your body without my knowledge?" She was defending it by claiming, "I took tests to make sure you were safe. I never had sexual relations with you if I didn't pass the exam." I wanted to slam her head into the wall, as in, "Really? Is this how you declare your love and protect the people you care about?" I'm going crazy over this, and talking to her feels crazy, so I walked out of the home just now. I'm searching for a location to reside separately till I speak with my lawyer and serve her as soon as feasible. I can no longer take her presence. How do you interpret this? Tell me in the comments section below, please. Thank you for coming today. In order to make sure your next chef stays faithful, subscribe to our channel. The next story is nothing compared to what's coming, so stay tuned. But I strongly warn avoiding listening to the next story if you're younger than 18.